Hi, if you're in the market for a dehumidifier and you're not really sure what to go for, and it can be confusing because there are a lot to choose from. So what I've done is I've come up with 10 things to consider before buying a dehumidifier. Just before I start, I would appreciate it if you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Just give us a quick thumbs up. First of all, what does a dehumidifier do? Well, mainly what it's designed to do is to attract excess moisture that would normally sit either on windows, laundry, just generally in the air. It's something that a lot of people are going for now, especially if you suffer with damp in your property. Although this list is in no particular order, I'd consider the first one the main one to look at. It's probably the most important thing, and that's the size of the property that you're in, whether it's a house, flat, apartment, whatever it is, and that would decide on the size of the dehumidifier that you want to go for. Manufacturers will normally measure this in something called an extraction rate, and what this is, basically it's the maximum amount of moisture that the dehumidifier can extract from the air within a certain time frame. So it's normally within a day. And what they do is most manufacturers will make it simple and they'll put it to the number of bedrooms that you've got. So 12 litre extraction rate per day is normally a 1 to 2 bedroom property. 15 litre extraction rate is normally a 2 to 3 bedroom. 18 litre extraction rate is normally a 3 to 4 bedroom house, and then the 21 litre extraction rate is normally a 4 to 5 bedroom. So it does make quite a difference on the amount or the extraction rate that the dehumidifier is capable of extracting from the air, but really that's the main thing that I would recommend. First of all, have a look, I suppose, at the size of the property that you're in, then decide on the size of the dehumidifier that's required. Number 2, and this really is, I suppose, is connected to number 1 a little bit, but see how much moisture you get in the property. And what I mean by that, if you wake up every morning you've got a load of moisture on all your windows, or especially if you've got, say, mould in your house, which can be a big problem, then have a look to see what size you were thinking about. So say if you were, if you're in, say, a 3-bedroom property, put my teeth back in. If you're in a 3-bedroom property, but you get a huge amount of moisture within the property, personally, I'd go for something a little bit bigger, because what you could find is if there is an excess amount of moisture, then going for a slightly bigger dehumidifier could really help. Number 3 on the list, what's the tank capacity of the dehumidifier? Now, what I mean by this, so on all dehumidifiers, you'll find you've got a tank in here like that. So it's just a little container, and all of these are measured in litres. And what you want to do is, personally, again, I think this is a really important factor, see how big the tank is. Because if you think, even if you're going for the smallest one, that has a capacity to extract, say, around 12 litres of moisture, if the tank capacity is, say, around 2.5 or 3 litres, then in theory you're going to be emptying that 3 or 4 times a day. If you go for one that's got slightly bigger capacity, then what you will find is you're not having to empty it as often. Also, some of the better dehumidifiers will have a little hose as well, and what you can do is you can actually connect it up to a drain source, and any of the moisture that's generated you can just have go out to a drain, so you're not having to empty it at all, which is always a really good idea. Number 4, does the dehumidifier have a humidistat control, and how easy is it to operate? Now, with dehumidifiers there are 4 main ways of controlling these. The first one is where you just have a dial, you just turn it on, and then it just works continuously. Now that's not really the recommended way, because all it's doing is it's just continuously on. The next way is still a manual control, and you just select a certain humidity level. Again, there are not too many of those on the market now. The third way is an electronic control, where you normally have a digital readout, and all you do is you select the humidity level that you want to get to, normally pressing a couple of buttons, and then it will work towards that, and then when it's achieved that, it will switch off. And then the fourth way, which is something called smart control, and different manufacturers will call it different things, but with smart control, that's the most cost-effective way of owning a dehumidifier. And basically what these will do is it will actually monitor the amount of moisture that you get in the air at certain times of the day, and it will turn itself on and off to help reduce the amount of moisture. Now again, it's called different things by different manufacturers, but that's how it works, and that's really a much better way of owning a dehumidifier and running it. Number 5, has it got an auto shut off when the tank is full? Now, although most of them should do it, don't assume it's got it, because some manufacturers don't have the option. What I mean by that, when the water's full, so when it gets to the full capacity, what most dehumidifiers should do is to give you a little warning on the top, tell you to empty the container. This can be really frustrating because if it doesn't turn off, all you'll find is that you'll come to the appliance after a couple of hours and then it'll have a pool of water underneath. But also it can be equally frustrating because when it does switch off, if you've been out for some time, then what you can find is it's switched off because it's full, and then you're having to empty it. And that's really going back to, I suppose, back to number 3, where if you got a larger tank capacity, then you wouldn't have to empty it as often. Number 6, does the dehumidifier have something called laundry mode? Now, at the moment in the UK, energy prices have gone through the roof over the last 12 months, and people are looking for alternative ways of drying their clothes, because using a tumble dryer, especially a standard condenser tumble dryer or a vented dryer, can be really expensive. So what people are doing is looking for alternative ways, and putting your clothes, say, on an airer and putting a dehumidifier in front of it can be a really cost-effective way of drying your clothes. And all it will do is, if you select the laundry mode on it, then it doesn't use the humidistat control. All it will do is it's normally a continuous operation. It will vary between different brands and different models, but on most of them you just select the laundry mode and then it will attract the excess moisture from within the clothes, and it can actually dry them really quickly, and as I mentioned earlier, it can be really cost effective. Number 7 on the list, and what I've done is I've turned this one on because I wanted to hopefully let you hear this one. So number 7 is, how noisy is the dehumidifier? Now, it's something not many people look into, but personally I think it's really important, especially because it's the sort of thing that could be upstairs. So if you got it, say, upstairs or around bedrooms, then you want to make sure that you're going for one that is pretty quiet. So just have a look for the decibel rating, which all manufacturers should be able to provide for you, because there's nothing worse than owning a dehumidifier, even if it's doing a really good job, say during the night, but if it's really noisy and if it's disturbing people's sleep, then that can be really frustrating. Number 8, does the dehumidifier have filters? And if it has got filters, then how easy are they to clean and maintain? Now, most dehumidifiers should have some form of filtration, and what this will do is this will help to reduce the amount of dust or bacteria getting into the dehumidifier to reduce the performance of it. And I'll just show you on this one. This is one of the ebac-dehumidifiers. This as a range is something that we do really well with, ebac. There are quite a few different manufacturers of dehumidifiers, but with these guys, a lot of these they're British made, and also the quality are really good. Also the warranty on these are normally quite long as well. But what I was saying about the filters, so on this model the filter just pulls off the back, and then that's nice and easy to go and either shake out or just give it a quick clean, or even replace if you need to. And then once you finish with that, then it just drops back on and clicks back into place. Now that one is really easy. I have seen 1 or 2 others where they're quite difficult, or even they are designed for the filters to be changed every 12 or 18 months. So that's something just to have a look at to see if the filters can either be cleaned or if they need to be replaced. Because you can find, if they do need to be replaced, and some of them are quite thick filters, then you could find that as an ongoing cost, then that could be quite expensive. Number 9, does the dehumidifier have something called Defrost Technology? Now, for some people, depending on the location it's going to be in, you could find if it was going to be in, say, a conservatory, where it's quite cold out there, then it could get to a freezing point. Now, what you don't want to happen is that any of the excess, or any of the water that's stored within the tank is going to freeze, or within the pipes within the unit itself. A lot of dehumidifiers are designed to operate in temperatures above, say, 5 or 10 degrees centigrade, but if you are putting it into a cold atmosphere, then if it has got defrost technology built in, then what it would do, clearly as long as it's plugged in, then if it does get down to a certain point that it gets very cold or could start to freeze, then it will turn itself on and then just make sure that it's warmed up so it doesn't freeze. Number 10. Now, I know it sounds really basic for a lot of people, but what you want to do is you want to make sure, A, that it's going to fit in the space, so just have a measure of the whole unit, but more importantly, have a look to see if it's on wheels or if it's got a handle on it. Now, I know some of you are thinking, well, how important is that? But a lot of dehumidifiers can be quite cumbersome and quite heavy. And for some people, if you're not too familiar, or if you're not that strong, then especially if some of the elderly people, I know my nan, who's over 90 now, she would really struggle to move this from room to room. So if it has got casters or wheels on the bottom, or a carrying handle, so on this one, just having a quick look, it's just got the one handle at the top here. It's not got wheels at all, so if you did need to move it around, then I suppose it can be a little bit difficult, because you've just got the one handle there. Some of them you'll find have got two handles either side. Some of them have got a carrying handle, like a physical handle on top, which can make it quite easy. I hope you found it useful or interesting, the 10 things to consider before buying a dehumidifier. Now, there are a lot of other things to consider. You've got things like Wi-Fi, so is it a smart device that you can connect it up to your phone or tablet? So can it tell you what's happening, which some of them can do, some of the better models in the range. But there's quite a lot of other things. If I have missed something, then just pop it in the comments below. Also, if you've got any questions on dehumidifiers, because I've got a couple on display here, then just pop it in the comments and I'll get back to you. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video or found it useful. I would normally ask, if possible, to subscribe and just give us a like on the video. I always appreciate that. Anyway, thanks for watching.